Hi. Oh man, we're doing this again. It feels like we're doing this every week, man. The media cannot stop talking about Lamar Jackson. And they can't stop criticizing, and they just can't stop hating. Okay, so once again, we are back with another installment of why can't y'all just leave my quarterback alone? In actuality, we're here to talk about the latest situation regarding one pass that Lamar Jackson made that blew up and had people talking and criticizing and doing what they always do with Lamar Jackson. You see, with Lamar Jackson, it just seems like no matter what he does, he can never win. He'll never be enough. There'll always be ways to criticize him. They'll always continue calling him a running back no matter what he does. They'll always say he can't throw no matter what he does. It is what it is. One thing I really do have to ask, for all the people, for all the trolls and the haters and the critics that say Lamar Jackson can't throw a football, I have to ask you this because I want you to give me a logical football explanation to what I'm going to ask you. For a guy you claim can't throw the football, how can he lead this league in touchdown passes in the same year that Patrick Mahomes was playing, Russell Wilson was playing, Aaron Rodgers was playing, Tom Brady was playing, Deshaun Watson was playing? How was he able to lead the league in touchdown passes and win MVP while also being top 10 in almost every passing statistic? Not only that, but how has he been able to be top 5 in touchdown passes, passer rating, and QBR over the last 2 seasons? How can he do that if he can't throw the football? How was he able to do that? Has the quarterback position become so easy in the NFL that a guy that can't throw the football can find a way to lead the league in touchdown passes, win MVP, and become a first-team All-Pro quarterback? How can he do it? Has the game become that easy? Because if it's become that easy, I might as well quit my job right now and try out for the NFL. Man, I got an arm. I can throw. Trust me, if it's become that easy that you don't really need to know how to throw a football that much and you can still make it in the NFL and be successful, sign all of us up. We can at least throw a football to some extent. So I'm just saying, if that's the case, sign me up. Because if the quarterback position has become that easy, I might as well go try out. I mean, I just don't understand this. I don't understand this. Is Lamar the greatest passer in the NFL? No, not even close. Does he have some things he needs to fix in his game? Yes, he needs to improve. I've been one of many Ravens fans that have said Lamar Jackson needs to improve as a passer. He's solid, he's good, and in some cases he's been great, but he still needs to improve as a passer. What I want to see from him is more consistency throwing outside the numbers. And with the new weapons we have, hopefully we get to see it. But Lamar Jackson needs to improve as a passer. Many of us Ravens fans have said this. It's fine if you don't believe in his passing ability and still think he needs to improve and be more consistent for you to trust him. That's fine. That makes sense. I'm in agreement with you. I'm fine with that. If you're saying he isn't the thrower you expect him to be, he needs to improve. He's not where you expect, MVP level quarterback to be as a thrower. Fine. That's a fair criticism. I got no problem with that. But to just say he's a running back and he can't throw at all makes no sense, and I will never understand the sentiment. I will never understand the sentiment. Because if he can't throw, there's no way he would have been able to lead this league in touchdown passes. And no, you can't just throw out, well, Greg Roman's system was able to do it. It was all Greg Roman. That makes no sense. First of all, Greg Roman has run this same system before with 2 other quarterbacks, in Colin Kaepernick and Tyrod Taylor. Neither one of those guys won an MVP. Neither one of them put up great numbers or historical numbers. Neither one of them looked like an all-pro quarterback. So how comes Lamar was able to do so? Maybe it's because you have to have the skill and the talent to do so. You have to be able to throw the football. You have to be talented. You have to be able to play at a high level consistently, which is what Lamar Jackson was doing when he was on his MVP season. That's how he won MVP in the first place. He was playing at a high level from the quarterback position while also doing what he was doing with his legs. So no, it's not just a system. Second of all, anybody that wants to point to a system for a quarterback being great and the only reason he's great, that makes no sense. From the beginning of football to where we are now, when football was first created all the way to where we are now, there is not a single system out there that can turn a terrible quarterback into an MVP level quarterback, a high level top 5 level quarterback. No, there's no system that can do that. There's no system out there that can turn a quarterback or a guy that can't throw into an MVP level quarterback who's an all-pro. There's no system you could possibly create. The greatest offensive coach I've seen in Andy Reid couldn't pull that off. There's no way you could be able to pull that off. So no, the system is not the reason Lamar Jackson won MVP. The system definitely did help. It definitely implemented something that they were all able to follow, and Lamar Jackson growing in the system definitely worked because it was using his legs, which is where his benefit is for the most part. The Ravens love using his legs, and he's better with his legs than he is with his arm. The legs right now, in that case, would just be better than what the arm is, but I don't think the arm is that far off from the legs, in my opinion. But I mean, that's just my opinion. From what I think, Lamar as a passer is highly underrated, and if you give him better weapons, we could truly see what this man could do. Because I've watched this man in Louisville, I've watched his tape, I've watched this man actually play. He's a better passer than people give him credit for. He's not a consistently great passer. I think he's a good passer that needs to improve. But I know what I've seen from this man, so I don't think his arm is that far from where his legs is right now, especially at this point in his career. So I don't understand this, man. I don't understand it. It's not just the system. The system definitely does help. But if you don't have the talent and the skills to play at a high level consistently, you're not playing at that level. No system can hide that. It's as clear as day. No system can hide that. No system can hide that. I'm sorry. It's not possible. To play the way this young man's playing and to achieve what he's been able to achieve, no, it's not all just the system. You can't pull it off. You just have to have that it factor. You got to have that talent. You got to have that skill. It's not all the system. That's why when some people want to point to Mahomes, for all the people that want to hate, the people that do like to hate on Mahomes, they'll just say, well, he's in the Andy Reid system and look at all the weapons. It's not just about the system and the weapons. That system and weapons were still there when Alex Smith was there. He didn't get them over the top. Mahomes did. Sometimes the player just has to have that talent and skill to help you get over the top. It's not all about the system. It's about the system combined with the player and what he's surrounded with. That's why it's a team game. So no, Lamar Jackson is not all, his talent and skill is not all based off a system. His MVP season didn't just come up just because he was in Greg Roman's system. No, it was the system mixed with his own talents and skills that he displayed during his MVP season that got him the MVP. So no. If you can give me a logical explanation as to how this man was able to lead the league in touchdown passes and win MVP while also being top 10 in nearly every passing statistic, if you can give me a logical explanation for how a guy that can't throw was able to accomplish that, then hey, you got me. Give me a logical football explanation. And no, you can't just be like, well, his legs just set up everything, because that's not always the case. There were plenty of times where they played him as a quarterback, got back in coverage, and he had to beat the defense. And he did. He went through his progressions and chose the right guy. Go back and look at that Monday Night Football game against the Rams. Go look at his touchdown passes. Look at the decisions he made. Look how he went through his progressions and how he made those choices. It wasn't all about his legs. It's never always been about his legs. Now, that's the one thing you want to shut down. But it's not always about his legs. And yeah, people are going to point to the bad games, but every quarterback has bad games. You can't just say, well, because they had a bad game, oh, well, now we got to question whether or not they should be able to do it. I guess at this point, you got to question Mahomes because he wasn't able to beat the Bucs in the Super Bowl, but he's beaten them before. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't understand you guys. I don't understand you guys. When you want to say that this guy can't throw the football. If you want to have questions for him as a passer, have questions for him as a passer. That's fine. But to sit here and act like he can't throw the football at all makes no sense, especially because of what he's been able to accomplish. Look at me. I spent 9 minutes talking about this, and I didn't even get to the topic I want to get to. You see what you guys made me do? I have to sit here and talk about Lamar for so long, time just passes. But let's actually try to get into what we're going to talk about. Okay, so the other day, the Ravens put out a highlight from OTA. It was Lamar Jackson throwing a pass to his newly acquired weapon, Sammy Watkins. And I remember when I saw this clip, I thought to myself two things. One, I'm so happy to see Lamar Jackson getting that early connection to Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins was not here last week for OTAs, so it is what it is. But he is here this week, so I'm happy to see this happening. I'm happy to see them going to work, getting that connection. I'm just happy to see that highlight in the clip. So that was my first thought. My second thought was that here we go. Because the pass was wobbly and it was a duck, people are gonna criticize and hate on the pass, and somehow, one way or another, one or two sports shows will talk about this. Whether it's television, YouTube channel, somebody's gonna talk about this. And what do you know? The exact thought I had happened. People definitely started talking about it on social media. Pat McAfee definitely talked about it on his show. And, he made some good points and stuff. By the way, I love Pat McAfee's show. He's awesome. But yeah, Pat and the crew, that whole squad, they're awesome. But yeah, they definitely made some points there that, they had some valid points. And I did like what Pat said in some cases. So I don't really have much to talk about in terms of, what was said there. There was some points that I liked. There was some points where I felt like they were just blowing it overboard. It's just one play from OTAs. But overall, I'm fine with them. But yeah, I knew it was gonna blow up, and I knew people were gonna talk about it. And of course, people came out and started hating and saying this is why Lamar can't throw and why he's a running back and this, and that. Ravens flock, we just gotta come to accept that this is just how it's gonna be for Lamar Jackson. He's just going to get hate and criticism no matter what he does. It's just how it is, man. It's just how it is. We just got to deal with it one way or another. For me personally, in terms of the pass, yeah, the pass was wobbly, but I don't care how the pass looks. Is the pass accurate? Is it on target? And did it get to the receiver's hands? It did all three of those things. The pass was on time. It was accurate. And it got to Sammy Watkins' hands. That's all that matters to me. We've seen a lot of passers in this league that throw some of the most beautiful deep balls we've ever seen. They're throwing it to the other team. So does it matter? I don't care how the pass looks. What matters is it getting to where it needs to get to? Accuracy and consistency are the only things I care about when it comes to the Lamar Jackson passing the football. I don't care about how it looks. I don't care about the pretty passes because those pretty passes don't matter to me if they're not getting to the receivers. If Lamar's out there throwing beautiful passes, but it's getting thrown to defenders and it's getting picked off, then who the hell cares what type of passes it's getting picked off? It's not accurate. I'm focused on accuracy and consistency. And right there in that clip, it was an example of Lamar Jackson. He was on time with the pass. It was accurate. It hit Sammy Watkins' hands. It was fine. It was a good pass. Not just because it was wobbly and it wasn't a pretty pass, doesn't mean it wasn't a good pass. That's just how I look at it. I don't care about how the ball looks. I just focus on, is it getting to where the receiver can be able to catch it? Is it accurate? That's all that matters to me. I can put this out there right now. Lamar Jackson has never been, nor will ever be, the prettiest thrower of the football in this league. The way he throws the football is just different. His mechanics are just different. It's not always going to come out pretty. But it's coming out of his hands and going exactly where it needs to go. It's going exactly where it needs to go in the receiver's hands. If it's accurate and it's consistent, that's all that matters to me. But it is what it is. However, Ravens flock, we just got to accept it, man. No matter what Lamar Jackson does, no matter what he accomplishes, people will always find something new to talk about and just criticize and hate Lamar Jackson for. I mean, how much have we actually heard about the whole can't win a playoff game situation or can't come back down double digits ever since the Titans game? Like people used to spam that every single day. Lamar Jackson can't win a playoff game. He can't come back from behind double digits. Ever since he proved he could in that wild card game versus the Titans, you haven't been seeing the critics and the haters say that much. They haven't been saying that because Lamar on the road was down 10 to a Tennessee Titans team that beat him in the playoffs last year, and then that following year came to Baltimore again and beat the team. He was down 10 to them on the road and found a way to come back alongside his team and won the game. So he silenced two different narratives about him. And ever since then, you haven't seen the critics been mentioning that much. Now it's just switching over to, oh, he doesn't throw the prettiest of passes. He can't throw. He's not accurate. This, and that. You saw the divisional game against the Buffalo Bills. He was this, and that. Oh, look at this pass now in OTAs. Look how wobbly it is. He can't throw a spiral. People have even gotten desperate to the point where they'll go back to the whole Pro Bowl performance he had as opposed to prove it. So in your mind, you would use the Pro Bowl passing competition as a great representation of his accuracy instead of actual game time stats. So in the games where you actually saw him being accurate in the performance and everything he's accomplished, where you see him be accurate as a quarterback, you don't look at those. But a Pro Bowl skills challenge passing accuracy game, you'll look at that and say, this is a perfect representation of how Lamar Jackson is in terms of accuracy. How does that make sense? So in the games where he was completing like 65, 70, some cases 75% of his passes, throwing multiple touchdowns, and he was doing it against defenses, that didn't show his ability to be accurate, but this competition showed it. How does that make any sense to you guys? That is clear biasness. That's just hate. That makes no sense. No sense at all. Yet you guys want to use that. You're that desperate. You're going back to a Pro Bowl challenge in 2019 and using that as your way to say he's not accurate. And you're ignoring everything else he's accomplished in the league since he first became a starter. How does that make any logical sense? Please tell me how that makes sense. The man is a career 64% completion percentage passer, but you want to use that challenge from 2 years ago in the Pro Bowl as a way to show his accuracy. We'll see him throw passes 20, 30, 40 yards down the field accurately, but you'll just point to this challenge and ignore those accurate plays because it doesn't fit your narrative. Like I said, no matter what Lamar Jackson does, he will always be criticized and hated. Now, again, I'm fine with the criticism as long as it's valid criticism and productive criticism. No player is exempt of criticism. Hell, I criticize Lamar. Go throughout my channel. When Lamar plays bad, I criticize him. When Lamar is not playing up to par, I criticize him. I'm not going to just exempt anybody because I like the player. Criticism always comes for every player. Because when they set a standard for themselves, they have to be able to live up to it. Lamar set the standard of being an MVP caliber quarterback, so I expect him to be able to play like that for most games. He's not going to play like that every game, but I expect him for most games, and especially when you get to the playoffs, I expect you to play at that level. And I gauge you based on how you perform versus the circumstance and the situation you were dealing with, whether it was your team not showing up or whether it was bad weather or anything. I gauge these things based on that, and that's how I make my assessment. No player is exempt of criticism, whether I like you or not. So criticism is fine. You can criticize Lamar Jackson as long as it's either valid or productive. But biased criticism, hateful criticism, no. No, because at that point, you're not even trying to be reasonable. You're just hating on them because you don't like them. And you always want to lean back to the whole, oh, well, once he loses his legs, he won't be able to be a quarterback anymore. He won't be able to play in this league. Once he loses his legs, he's going to be done here. Why are you guys so quick to always go to what ifs? When it comes to Lamar Jackson, it's always what ifs. It's never what he's done. Why is that? Why is that? Why is it every time with Lamar Jackson is what if? What if he can't run? What if he loses his legs? What if this? What if that? Why don't you just focus on what he's doing now and what he's done? Why you always got to go to what ifs? That makes no sense to me. It's like you're just hoping for this man to get injured in the hopes and beliefs that you'll be proven right, that he can't throw, not that he can't run. That was like you guys are praying for that to happen at some point. You can't just put out what if and just assume that's facts. Well, what if he can't run anymore? Well, obviously, because I believe he won't be able to be successful as a passer, it automatically means he won't be successful as a passer because of a what if situation I came up with. That makes no sense. That is not logical. You guys got to do better, man. You got to do better. No one's saying you can't criticize Lamar Jackson. And I know there are fans out there that go too far. And they'll definitely be like, you can never criticize Lamar Jackson for everything. Look at what he's done. He's an MVP, this, and that. That's not what I'm saying. I understand those fans are out there. And those fans are wrong. And whenever I see those fans, I'm like, they're not part of the crew. Because we don't claim those. If you're going to sit there and act like your quarterback is perfect, that you can't do that. You're just as bad as the people that are hating on him. Because you're ignoring criticism when it needs to be there. And you're acting like a blind fan. You shouldn't be doing that. Give criticism where it's due. It needs to be valid criticism or constructive criticism. One or the other. Don't give biased criticism. Don't give negative criticism that's just there for you to hate on the player because you don't like his play style or you just don't like the quarterback. You can't, that's not how you analyze a quarterback. You have to be objective, whether you like the player or not. That goes for both the people that want to be fanboys and the people that want to hate and be biased. You have to be valid. I continue to deal with these type of people on a daily basis, and it's gotten annoying. But at the end of the day, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Hey man, it could be worse, man. You could be a LeBron fan, you got to deal with that crap every day. Or you could be a LeBron hater and you got to deal with the fanboys. Basically, anything related to LeBron is just a problem. Like, you can't talk about that dude. You say you talk about that dude and someone's going to claim you to either be a LeBron fan or a LeBron hater. For some reason, in the fans' mind, or even the media's mind, there's no objective middle. You're either a fanboy or a hater. Sometimes you'll be crowned both because of what you said. I don't know how that works. That's why I don't really like talking about LeBron James. But yeah, Ravens flock, it's just something we're going to have to deal with. No matter what Lamar Jackson does, people are always going to find a way to hate on him. And if it was valid criticism, I'm fine. Hell, I'll probably agree on you if we have the same takes. Like, if you want to sit there and say he hasn't played up to the standard I expect him to be as an MVP, that's fine. I'll give you there's some valid criticism in that too. I've even said that at moments, especially last season. Early on in the season, I called him out for that. So it's fine to give valid criticism. If you want to say you have questions about his ability as a passer long term and you want to see him make improvements, that's also fine. But to sit back and say he can't throw and to look for every bit of evidence you can possibly see or possibly find to be able to show as a piece of evidence and say, well, he can't throw here when he's had plenty of highlights and great throws throughout the games that we've seen and great performances as well. It don't make sense. It's you being biased. You're not being critical. You're being biased and you're just being hateful towards him. And I think at the end of the day, it's just something we as Ravens fans are just gonna have to deal with Lamar for as long as he's here in Baltimore, for as long as his career is going on. It's just something we're gonna have to deal with. At this point, I don't think a Super Bowl is gonna silence it because he can win a Super Bowl, but someone's like, okay, well, can he win two? Can he continue to play this way? Maybe he's a one-year wonder. It was a fluke. This, and that. Lucky playoff run this. You know how the people do it. They'll find every way to discredit a great player's performance or a great player's accomplishment. Hell, he won MVP, and there's still people out there that are disrespecting him and acting like he should be replaced. I don't know what to tell you, man. But, it's just something we're just going to have to deal with. And Ravens fans is something we're just going to have to accept for now because it's not going anywhere. So get used to hearing it. You can continue to fight the long fight, which I know I will, and many of us Ravens fans as well as Ravens YouTubers will continue to discuss this. But, it's something that's always going to be here. It is what it is. With that being said, that is all I got, man. And I'm out of here. Peace.